7:50 p.m. I thought I'd go ahead and add on just a little bit more as well. All of our yuck stuff is basically disappearing as the sun sets without much else to be seen overhead as far as through the naked eye. Many times the camera will pick up on things that are not quite so apparent to the human eye. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this just a little bit here. If we can get this to focus because of so much glaring qualities to the air. Surprisingly, it has, well, with the loss of a lot of this overhead gunk and clouds that we've had today, it is basically dropped in humidity. Got a nice breeze out here. It's a cool breeze. But as this has been dropping, severe changes to the weather has taken place. Pan back just a little bit. We'll get a better panoramic viewing of this. Once again, this is basically all that we have. We do have, just a wee little bit of overhead stuff that is still kind of flowing from east or from west to east. Although it does appear as though this is actually growing in size and headed in this direction. And if that continues to be the case, well, we just might get some colorations, but otherwise, halfway, mind you, halfway expecting just a dirty sky scenario. Once the so-called setting continues. This is very strange looking right here though. And, well, I'm going to do it once again. And just keeping fingers crossed that this viewer, subscriber, if you will, might happen to catch this. But another big shout out to the channel, Abby CD, for commenting on a community posting. I think, yeah, it was a community posting. And for providing a nice suggestive lead to an audio book, of which I just might have to check out. So thank you, Abby CD, for that suggestion. It is more than appreciated. And if I could get more people to comment on my community postings, past, present, or even future, I just might go ahead and open up that comment section once again. Man, I don't know, this flight here might be just a little too difficult to capture or to board. Let's put it that way. Because it seems like it is way up there with that stratospheric aerosol injection, but I don't even think that is within the stratosphere. Okay? So, you know, I must say that I have never been in agreement with that narrative of stratospheric aerosol injection because it happens on many atmospheric levels. As seen quite often through my content. Yeah, we are completely zoomed in all the way. Oh yeah, and of course having issues with the focusing because there's still a lot of reflective qualities to the air. Man, it's got a pretty decent trail behind it with and you know what's sad is this object up here is much larger to the naked eye than to the camera's eye. Strange. And I'm actually hearing the rumble of this one. And we'll go ahead and check out the damage to the sky of what it has inflicted right directly once it is out of our viewing. I think that's good enough. Yep. And this should be dispersing relatively quick. In fact, as we zoom in on this, we can see how it's fanning out. So this concoction has been prepared to do specifically just that. Okay? Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, and here we go. Oh yeah, they're mucking up the skies pretty darn good. So, well, we've not been able to board any flights today. Captured a few. You see this back in here? That's very strange looking. But most anything recordable in the skies today is of strange quality. I should keep our attention focused on this because, well, a lot of times there's quite a little bit more strangeness that can be seen pertaining to these flyovers. It's just not, well, you know, had I ever opted for monetization back when I first started doing this, more likely this channel would have only existed for maybe a year. Yeah. But because of my non-compliance, I've gotten away with an awful lot. I've had quite a few copyright claims thrown at me, unjustly mind you, because AI deemed these videos to be claimed. It claimed copyright claims, not those that actually should have been doing the claiming. And so I've got videos that's been tagged with copyright claims that has been illegally deemed to not be viewable in all countries. Well, one thing is it was through editing apps. So AI took it upon itself to provide these copyright claims. Why? Because I didn't go right straight from the editing app to post the content onto the platform. Even though I provided all the necessary information within the descriptions, nope. That was not good enough. Even though I provided the app information, any songs that I used, or music, was completely, which was, of course, mandated to provide. I did so, and still, copyright claims were filed against those videos. Yep. That's how nonsensical this platform is. And yeah, this is another flight that we just won't be able to board, unfortunately, because, well, it's not even flying in our direction, but it sure is doing its job, is it not? And so we will only be able to see basically this much of that flyover, as its trajectory will be off in this direction, and, well, it might not be viewable. Well, these are oh yeah. And then back to this menagerie of a mess. And let's see, going on 15 minutes long. Super. That's all we we need is more very lengthy videos that get few views, especially because this type of content does not get recommended. In fact, it gets demonized. Why? Because they're trying to hide the realities of what is really going on, which means that Google and YouTube and their affiliates are all in on it together. Flat out, plain and simple. And of course, they cannot come out with complete UFO, UAP disclosure without having to discuss this type of activity in the sky. Why? Because it's been reported throughout history how these UFOs make their own clouds for camouflage. I've recorded it. Yeah, I've got my recordings of exposes so much. Yeah, and like I figured, this one here that created this trail was not to be seen whatsoever. That I have been watching and seeing nothing. Oh man, is this really getting to be quite the cluster of a mess. And, oh yeah. Yeah. You know, I get tired of seeing this, but I really don't get tired of recording it. Why? Because, well, basically this is all evidence that could hold up in a court of law if it ever, came down to it. or a congressional hearing, shall we say. Yeah, especially because, well, as I've shown in my community postings in the past, as well as through my talking points, that it has been claimed that none of this activity takes place in the skies in Michigan and never has. Oh, but this had to be disclosed or undisclosed, whatever, through a university professor. Yeah, okay, whatever. A university professor. More than likely, that professor never even monitored the skies himself. It's just like, in all these mainstream media programs where they have these special guests and interviewing them about this, that, and the other thing. And oh man, it's nothing more than to provide false narratives. And there's been so much of that going on. I mean, now we're even learning about all the false narratives about this warfare or these conflicts that's been going on involving Iran and oh, it's so silly to even be involved, whether it's between Russia and Ukraine or Iran and Israel and the surrounding countries there. They've been doing this for thousands of years. Yes, even Russia and the Ukraine, or country of Ukraine, whatever. Hundreds of years of conflicts. And these doofuses in power think that they can stop it? No, come on. This is a warfare planet. That's why we have all these ancient stories about the warfare amongst the gods and the demigods and oh yeah. That's why we also have this little phrase of survival of the fittest. Mm-hmm. Oh, to the victor goes the spoils, right? Yeah. Well, this country's been spoiled far, far enough, as far as I'm concerned. And it's about time that we get a good slap in the forehead to wake up. Yeah, bring it on. Like a teacher one of the teachers back when I was in high school, talking about World War III and the end times and all that in high school. And basically he said, you know, when the missiles fly over, I'll pick a spot on my favorite hill behind my house, crack open a bottle of wine, and smoke a big fat joint, and watch the missiles do their thing. Man, he was such a cool teacher. And honest. Well, you don't get that from teachers anymore. Flat out honesty. Well, you know what? That's what you get here on this channel. I have to be honest with my observations. Why? Because they're raw recordings. And the only ones that the only ones that actually try to use my content against me has been this platform itself, or those trollers, the trolls from channels that carry no content and very few subscribers. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they're the ones that attack me. The platform and the trolls, and one must be curious if they are in fact one and the same. AI has been programmed to demonize those that look at the sky and record the sky. You must understand, all these systems are programmed by these elitists that, well, back when I was in school, they were the nerds, the brainiacs. Yeah. Should have punked them out even harder. But no, I used to be a defender of the underdogs. I'm kind of kicking myself in the rear. Well, it's just hanging quite tough back here, isn't it? Whereas, look at what happened to this one now. Hmm, 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 hmm. Yupper doodle. Yupper doodle. It looks like a noodle. Back when I was a kid, I seen a cloud that looked like a French poodle. Even my mom and dad seen the same thing. I said, you know, Morgan, you're right. It looks just like a French poodle with its nifty little haircut and all. Yep. And that was my first sky observation that I took in of so-called cloud pareidolia, and I remember it well. And I was, 6 years old. Yeah, I don't believe I was even 7 years old yet. And so it was my own parents that first pointed out a sky observation. Alright, so 25 minutes long. Yeah, I might have to end this and possibly start anew in a little while if we should happen to get colorations to come about. Well, sorry that we missed the opportunities to board a few flights here, but you know, oh yeah, this stuff is spreading all over the place now. Isn't it fun to see how this stuff evolves, mutates, morphs? Alright, Skyway's out.